This is such a powerful scene, and if you haven't already watched this episode, you should watch this episode because it's going to contain spoilers. I'm not going to talk about anything that's the future of the TV show, so you can kind of follow along through the episodes. We know that Tess has been bitten, and that look she gives to Joel, that sweet look that says how she knows how much he cares for her and how hard this is going to be. She knows that she doesn't have long. And especially when you're in a very dire situation, when times are tough, we form bonds that are really strong. When you can trust no one, the people that you can trust, they become family for you. And that's who Tess and Joel are to each other. They're more than just partners. They've formed this family of trust that they can rely on each other. And because times are so tough and you can trust no one, those that you can are so much more precious.
What about the kid? Maybe the first bite didn't take. But what about the second?
How about you just take the good news? Can you do that? Like to think for once maybe we can actually win?
And that's so heartbreaking, her talking about maybe for once we can actually win. He's giving all of these worry thoughts, but her cup is already full because she knows that she's bitten. And she also knows the timeline of she has hours left. With Joel adding that stress, she can't really handle it. And you might be wondering, why doesn't she let him know at this stage? She knows that if Joel found out, they may not get to the point. They would spend so much time spinning and worried that he won't be focused. And she needs to have him focused because Tess is a wonderful leader. She knows that they have to get to the next goal. She wants to make sure that her death matters.
Just go and watch her.
It's so sweet because Joel doesn't have a clue. You can tell he's like, why are you being so aggressive with me when I'm being sweet? If she told him now, or if she was able to take in that sweetness, she might crack. She's right now able to be stoic and keep it together. But if she lets in those floodgates of his affection and care, that might just open everything up. And then she won't be able to do the task at hand that she has to do because she's using her aggression to be able to push him away, to get some space so that she can be able to center herself and be able to do what she has to do. And she takes that time to kind of gather herself, her emotions. Now, you might wonder how she even able to handle this so well, but they've been dealing with life or death. They've ran through this scenario in their heads so many times that this isn't the first thought she's had about her own death. They live in a world where death is around the corner. They see it everywhere. And I'm not going to say that that makes it that it's an easy thing to deal with, but it makes it easier because it's not something that came out of nowhere. She knew the risks of living in the world that she's living in. And so she needs that moment. And also because she doesn't have a lot of time to be able to kind of contemplate all of the different scenarios, her way of dealing with it is just to keep working, to keep pushing forward. And for a lot of people, that's their best strategy. Just keep themselves busy, because if they don't keep their mind busy, they're going to start to spin. And all of those cycling negative thoughts and worry thoughts are going to kind of overflow and overwhelm them. And they can get so bad that we just shut down. And she can't afford to shut down right now.
Tess, what are you doing?
One of them's got to have a map on them. Joel, can you help me?
No, it's over. We are going home.
This is not my home.
And that was too much because she knows there is no home for her. That word of going home when you know that that's not possible, and how beautiful that that would be, that was kind of the last drop that kind of had the entire bucket overflow.
I'm staying. I mean, our luck had to run out sooner or later.
And his sweet look, he has no clue still. He still doesn't know, because for Joel to be able to even think that, that is the unthinkable. For Joel to lose someone else that's that close to him would be so heartbreaking that he can't even fathom it.
She's infected.
Show me.
And how the infected are so scary to people. Even though he cares about her and he's worried about her, her even taking that step is so frightening. I think that that's a really striking example of what happens with fear, especially with something that we don't understand, which, you know, goes back to when people had the AIDS epidemic, with people being worried about being in contact and touching other people, and then that Fedra agent that was still able to touch that boy even though she knew that he was infected. That understanding really goes a long way to be able to build bridges, but when we don't understand something, it's often very scary for us.
Take your bandage off. This is real. I need you to get her to Bill and Frank's.
No.
I never ask you for anything, not to feel the way I felt, not to let you shut the up because I don't have time.
That thing of her not having time, and she has to kind of get out all of the things that she needs and why she needs them, and she's always the strong one, she's always the stoic one, she's always the one in control. She never asks for anything. She's that avoidant attachment type that will take care of everything herself. But in this point, she needs him to do this because then her death has meaning, then there might be chance for others, then she can do something with the time that she has that is greater than herself. And often when we're looking at our own mortality, that suddenly matters so much, to be able to know that we might go, but we're going to be leaving something behind for others, and hopefully to make a legacy or the world a better place than we left it off. And so for her, it's no longer about just getting the parts that they need to fix the truck to be able to help Tommy, but more about this whole world view that she can make a difference.
This is your chance. You get her there. You keep her alive. And you said everything right. All the we did. Please say yes, Joel.
And that's also her amends for all of the horrible things that they had to do or chose to do during this really catastrophic world that they live in, so that she doesn't have to die with all of these different regrets. Infected speak to each other, and seeing all those little tendrils come up and kind of creep into the fingernails and into the hands of the others, for visuals on screen, that visceral feeling that I get every time I see them moving and the spores kind of reaching out makes me kind of get this creepy, crawly feeling with it. And I think it's a really effective way to show the fear that people would feel when you're not actually immersed in a game, rather we're watching it on screen. Just a side note, my thoughts on it.
What are you doing?
Making sure that they don't follow you.
And you can tell Joel is starting to shut down, that this is overwhelming for him. This is too much. And Tess right away can see it in his face.
Say who you can say.
And those like really strong words, like they're really simple words, but that he can save Ellie, but he can't save her. I love that scene. That is an amazing scene because you can see Joel when he's cycling. You can see his cheek kind of moving, and that he still has all this adrenaline pumping through him, and he's thinking too fast. And then you can just see when he's able to put everything that's spinning in his head, and he just, boom, goes into action. I'm just gonna play it again because it is so cool to be able to watch that moment when you can tell. Amazing acting when you can just tell that he knows what he has to do and he's just gonna do it. He's not gonna think. She's again done that wonderful thing where she just lets him know what she needs from him, and he just does it. And that's exactly what would happen. You end up with that surge of adrenaline, you're going into fight or flight, and then boom, it just hits off, and then you just do what you have to do. And that's what Joel does. Under pressure, under stress, he can just act. He stops and he thinks too much, he spins. He needs to be able to shut down, he needs to be able to use substances in order to handle things. But in times of distress, when he has to act, he just does.
No! We're not leaving her!
And now she can let down her guard a little bit and show her fear and how scary it is as we see her all alone and having to face these creatures that they've all been doing is running from. And instead of running, she's going to stay there. You can tell that fear, that surge of adrenaline that's inside of her, but that she at least has a purpose in what she has to do. Stop it. Like, this was the most creepy of scenes. This creature like coming out at you. It's so invasive. It kind of felt like being assaulted at the same time as you're worried about dying, and then there's no other word. That's the psychological word, is just and her eye looking like you can tell that the creature is controlling her, that she only has so much control left. Part of her is still conscious and aware. It's just such a visceral scene. She did it. She was able to protect them. This was probably one of the most visceral scenes for me. Tess was my favorite character in the entire episode. Let me know what your thoughts were and the way that she handled herself in the comments below. As someone who's battled dragons in dungeons, run in the shadows, hammered wars, and basically played RPGs all my life, today's sponsor, World Anvil, is so incredibly cool. Whether you're game mastering, game planning, writing, doing any kind of world building, World Anvil has you covered with 25 amazing article templates that you can use to create wiki-styled presentations, interactive maps, and chronicles with interactive timelines. So you can literally map out events across time and space. If you have paper all over like me and it's hard to read your own notes, World Anvil has you covered. If you're playing D&D, World Anvil supports 5th edition and other systems. You can create your own world to bring your campaigns to life. Even if you're dealing with a drow archmage like me, this makes killing Strahd easy as pie. 1, 2, I might be kind of exaggerating. Okay, there might be some things that even World Anvil can't help you with. Basically, you have all the best tools to help you write, organize, enjoy, and publish rich settings with complex characters. You get to write, world build, manage your stories from a single platform. And with World Anvil, world building is fun. You're not just making a module, it's a cornucopia of every RPG player's dreams. Have you ever lost a character? Like I have? You don't have to worry with World Anvil because it has one website to rule them all and keep them safe. You can sign up completely free, but if you're watching this video, you can try out World Anvil for a limited time. You can get 40% off your annual membership using the code Georgia Dow. Just click on the link in the description and use the code Georgia Dow. Clicking on that link really does help out this channel, and thank you World Anvil for sponsoring this video. And hopefully I'll see you on my next video.